Hello again. Right, next day, the power of the wet palette. I did some little tweaks and things on the white socks. I have painted some eyes. So I just used the same colour as the socks, so an off-white, then a brown, and then the black brown around the leaving sort of white at the back to kind of give an impression of the direction of where the horse is looking. And now I'm going to, you probably spotted it already, the boots. I've done one. I might give it another sort of a wash of brown, but the idea here is I wanted a brown that isn't the same as all the other browns, because there's so many browns on these guys. So didn't want it to have the same, exactly the same texture as the saddle. Didn't want it to be the red brown, but these are kind of leathery boots, I guess. But I don't know. I'd already done in the session this guy who's a little bit more orange than what I've got here. Let me zoom out a little bit. But still keep it being consistent with a look. And this is how I did it. And I didn't pour out any new colours on the palette. Colours were still lively from being on a wet palette. I base coated the boot with the black brown, and then I took some of the flat brown from the horse and the orange brown, which were on the palette, mixed them together, quite thin actually, worked quite well, and just a tiny dab of the black brown to make a brown colour. And then that's probably a little bit, I'm going to a little bit more both of those on my palette now, just because I'd thinned it so much that the paint almost didn't want to go on the boot. So maybe just a little, that's probably fine. Now the idea here is it's like I say, I'm after a brown that isn't the same as the browns around it. And for this I'm quite happy just to flood. Yeah, I'm not after a perfect coat. For I am going to use the noisy, bear with me, one thing with the hairdryer, it's made my figure go. Let's hope that cools. I'll need to use that later, I guess, then. I had that one a bit hot. So you can see that that's dried nicely, but has kind of got a kind of nice mottled look to it. So now I'm just going to go back with that same colour, this time with a bit more control on my brush, and pick out, there we go. And pick out some of the upper surfaces, so not really worried about finishing this with a perfect finish. This is one of those weird, I can't quite work out exactly how these boots are constructed. They've got some strapping over top of something. They could be kind of different bits of leather. What I did next was I have on here, now this is canvas tone. Now canvas tone, if you look, I used that to paint the hooves from my reference, so it's kind of a khaki colour, and that's here, and I added just a bit of that in. So like I say, the colour mixes aren't critical here. You're just after a brown that doesn't match or isn't too close in colour to the other browns on your figure. You can come around and kind of catch the sole of the boot. This is almost kind of expressive painting. It's not a thing that has precise details. There's some, like I say, some strapping and whatnot. Right, let's go back and do some elements again on the other one, because obviously I painted these at slightly different times. I've got slightly different colour consistencies, so but the canvas tone is just giving it a slight khaki feel. I'm kind of still looking at it with light coming from the top down. And then I'm going to add a little bit more canvas tone, and still on the palette from before, the grimy grey from the white socks. So this is a kind of a highlight colour, a final highlight. And I'm just going to pick parts of the top of the boot and elements of the way this is strapped, or the straps. I'm going to go and add some of that same highlight again on both boots, so that they kind of have a level of consistency between them. I'm quite happy for this to be a bit blotchy, because these are kind of battered, leathery, worn leather boots by a warrior who's probably been all over the shop in them. And then the final thing is I'm going to go back to the black, brown, brown, black, whatever it was. See previous videos. It's in it. And I'm just going to use it to carefully pick out some of the lines between the strapping webbing or leather bits, and also separate the saddle. Now the desk lamp kind of overexposes it slightly. Can also carefully pick the line between the sole of the boot and the upper. Same with the where it's joining, or because these are moulded together as one, we can't paint them separately. Have to use the black or the black brown to separate his legs from the horse, and that'll do. I might refine it with some little bits and bobs, little finer lines, but in essence that's a boot. That's a quick one, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. Thanks for your time. Look, so they are different enough, closer to the saddle in colour, but different enough. Okay, cheers, bye bye.